Hello, everyone, and welcome to our NFL game preview of the week. We have the Baltimore Ravens headed up against the Cincinnati Bengals, two of the top teams in the NFL. The Bengals at the moment with a 4-2 record going up against the Baltimore Ravens, who are 5-1. These two teams are evenly matched. We're going to look at the offense. We're going to look at the defense. And finally, we're going to give our final score for who will win this game this upcoming week. It is bound to be a tremendous game between two of the most electrifying quarterbacks in the NFL. Of course, that man, Lamar Jackson, MVP, looking tremendous this season, and the young upstart, Mr. Joe Burrow. So we can't wait to get into it. But before we get started, if you guys enjoy this video, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, we appreciate all of the love and support you've been giving us over the last few weeks, months, years here on the channel. It means the world to us. We appreciate all the shares and all the Facebook groups. It's been tremendous. If you've not done so already, please go and check out our podcast, available on Spotify, Apple, or anywhere you listen to your podcast. And we are over there at 100 Yards of Football. We have daily episodes, sometimes multiple each day. Great draft previews, game previews, team previews, history specials, interviews with legends of the past. Anything and everything football related, you can find it over there at our podcast. And also go check out our Instagram as well, where we upload clips of each show, little snippets to see what you can have each and every week. So give us a follow over there. But I can't do this video by myself. I got to bring on the legend representing the 901, Mr. Football, Vincent Turner. How you doing this morning, sir?
Hey, man, thank you for the kind introduction. Hey, it's many blessings and honor to be with you because you're standing on the platform now. West Georgia in the house.
Yes, sir. Got to represent. Got the hat on today. Got to represent the alma mater, of course. Go Wolves. Our football team's doing tremendous this season, if I do say so myself. But let's get into some NFL action, though. It's going to be a great game, like I mentioned, with the Bengals and with the Ravens. I'm going to start things off here talking about these Cincinnati Bengals and just how their offense has done this year. And boy, oh boy, it seems like they're finally hitting that stride. Like I mentioned, they're 4-2 on the year. People thought they would be better with Joe Burrow coming back healthy. Of course, that man, Jamar Chase, his old running mate at LSU. And now, man, that dynamic duo is looking like it never missed a beat. Those two gentlemen are leading this way, leading the franchise. And, of course, that tremendous running back by the name of Joe Mixon, one of the most consistent running backs in the NFL since he's been here. Top 5 in the league when you look at rushing yards at the moment. So let's talk about this offense. Joe Burrow and company, they've looked good. They've looked really good so far, just in terms of how they've panned out against the teams they've been playing up against us so far in the AFC North. They started off this year. They beat Minnesota 27-24 in an overtime thriller. They scored 20 points or more in each and every game this season. So that lets you know that they are putting in some good work up there with Cincinnati. Joe Burrow, of course, leading the way. The franchise QB, they drafted him number 1 overall, 1,540 yards on the year, 14 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So there might be a little bit of a red flag, but I do think that he will get that calmed down. Like I said, he did get hurt last year. He's still trying to get his wheels back under him. And I think that give him some time. We've seen this guy is a Heisman winner. He's a winner at LSU. And it's translating well into the NFL. Just give him a little bit of time. Now, I do think that the big thing that everyone talked about in the draft before they got Mr. Jamar Chase was the sacks. Because that's how Mr. Burrow got hurt last year, and their season just kind of went up in flames. Joe's been sacked 16 times this year, which is a little bit high in terms of all the other leaders in the NFL. So you just got to hope that he can stay on the field, not get banged up and bruised too much. Because like we've said here on the show for a while now, this guy's a once-in-a-generation type of talent. We looked at him in college with LSU back when they won the national championship. We did countless videos about him, how he was going to do in the NFL, just his accolades, his arm strength, his accuracy. You name it, this guy is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in a few seasons. You just watch. You see all the flashes right now with him and Jamar Chase. But let him get a little bit of a better O-line. And that offense, we've already seen, it's already clicking on all cylinders. And Joe Burrow is about to be in the MVP talks in the upcoming future. I best believe that. But let's talk about the other casting crew around him. Like I mentioned, Jamar Chase. Man, oh man. I know there was people, like I just mentioned, they thought the Bengals should have went with an offensive lineman with their first overall pick, like Penei Sewell, who's with the Detroit Lions right now. But they wanted to go with Jamar Chase, and hey, I don't blame them. And so far, it is paying out. 27 catches on the year, 553 yards, 5 touchdowns on the season. What more can you ask for? That's what you drafted him in the first round for, and he is playing like a first-round talent, one of the most electric wide receivers in the game of football in just his first season, looking tremendous already. Of course, he's also got Tyler Boyd with him as well, who's got 28 catches for 290 yards. He's got T. Higgins represent for 18 catches on the year, and C.J. Uzomah, the tight end for the team. And they are just looking tremendous. They're getting some momentum. They've looked good so far. Joe Mixon, their running back, 480 yards, going to crack that 500 one against this Ravens team. There's no doubt about that. 3 touchdowns on the year. So this Bengals offense has proven week in and week out that they are consistent first and foremost, putting up almost 20 points or more through the first 6 weeks of the season. You've seen that Joe Burrow, when he is on the field, he is a playmaker. Jamar Chase, he's looking like he's silencing all of his doubters and talking about why he was supposed to be picked in the first round and why him and Joe Burrow have that solid connection in college, and they didn't miss a beat in the NFL. They're looking dynamic along with Joe Mixon. This Bengals offense is sneaky good. I know a lot of people might look at the Bengals and think this is kind of a flash in the pan type of season. But hey, this is a young group. This is a talented group, and they're just only going to get better and better as the season progresses. I can't wait to see how this Bengals team goes up against that Baltimore defense, man. It's going to be great. But Mr. Football, please tell us, what do you think about this, man? What do you think about the defensive side of the ball? I'm going to let you talk about that.
Well, I'm going to say it right quick. What I like about the Bengals, you put it eloquently. I think Cincinnati has an offense that can get through the AFC playoffs and make some noise. Joe Burrow, as you said, has been really, really a good football player. I didn't expect nothing less. The wide receiver, Jamar Chase, to my people in the Philadelphia area, I told you he was better than Devontae Smith. Now maybe you will listen. But I'm going to get to the defensive side of the ball. What more can you say? Last week, they had Jared Goff to 192 yards. The Detroit Lions had a very outstanding defensive game. Only allowed 36 yards on the ground. And the top players, Von Bell, the Ohio State, 7 tackles. Logan Wilson, he's becoming a star out of Wyoming, 6 tackles, 2 for losses. Then look what happened in the D-line. DJ Redder out of Clemson. Be proud, Clemson Nation. Last week he had 3 tackles, and he was a very main piece. And the Bengals held in the Lions to 36 yards rushing. And then Jesse Bates, the most unknown, maybe highly decorated safety in the game, that's really not getting a lot of love because he's playing in Cincinnati. But you know what? He's a player. Warriors come out to play. Had 3 tackles last week. So I'm thinking Cincinnati is rolling into a very balanced football team. I like what they did defensively last week. Excellent work.
Yeah, I think that they have looked great this entire season, and it's going to be a tough matchup because I'm about to talk about the Baltimore Ravens defense. And hey, when you think of defense in the NFL, the Ravens are always going to be top of your mind in terms of just how productive they are week in and week out. And my goodness, last week they put on quite the show, Mr. Turner, with Mr. Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers. I don't think anyone saw that they would only get that the Chargers would only have 208 yards total. That's off. That's running and passing combined. That's unbelievable. So they have really, I mean, that's one of the best defensive performances you'll see throughout college football, throughout NFL, throughout any level of football this season. And they were dominant. They only gave up that 1 touchdown the entire game. They missed the extra point. And, man, they looked absolutely tremendous. What more can you say? One of the rookie of the year last year, Justin Herbert, put up a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns. You basically shut him out for the most part, I would say. They look great. That Baltimore defense, man, they have looked tremendous this year. they were shaking at the beginning. They were a little shaky. They lost in overtime to the Raiders, and then they gave up 35 points to the Kansas City Chiefs the next week. But man, these past few weeks, they have really dialed in. Like I mentioned, against the Chargers last week, only gave up 6 points. Against the Denver Broncos a few weeks ago, only gave up 7 points. So they have really got it dialed in, and they are looking tremendous. Of course, man, you got to talk about just who all is on that defense, who all is leading that team. And, man, you got to talk about Patrick Queen, man. We've talked about him a lot on the show, and he is really getting into his own. He's really filling those shoes, and he is looking tremendous. When you look at just how dominant that Ravens defense is, he's trying to stamp his name into those history books. And, man, at the linebacking position, he has proven that he is for sure, playmaker. 36 tackles on the season, 25 of those being solo with 1 sack. Of course, talk about sack, man. These Ravens, they are getting all over the ball, 14 sacks as a team, and that is led by Odafe Owe, the other linebacker, looking great this season. Tyus Bowser, 2 sacks as well. Tavon Young, the cornerback, blitzing in, coming in, getting 2 sacks. Justin Houston, a linebacker, getting 2 sacks on the year. They have looked tremendous. And, of course, you got to talk about they got some ball hawks over there as well at the cornerback position, like our guy Bobby Butler be talking about, man. They've got Anthony Everett, the cornerback, 2 interceptions. Deshaun Elliott, the safety, with 1. They've got 4 as a team. I think that they could maybe get to the young Joe Burrow. Might be a little nervous against this Baltimore defense now because they have some heavy hitters, and they are not afraid. They're not afraid, as you say, Mr. Turner, to lay the wood down and get some sacks, get some tackles, and just really put a bruising on that Cincinnati Bengals O-line. I expect them to get a couple of sacks in this game, honestly, because they have some big hitters. They've got some tremendous playmakers. And this Baltimore defense, like I said, you pretty much shut out Justin Herbert last week, and they are going to try and do the same again this upcoming week against Mr. Joe Burrow. I think they have all the potential in the world to do it. And, man, they have a lot of talented guys, like I mentioned, Patrick Queen, Chuck Clark, their other safety, Brandon Stevens, the cornerback. You name it, man. Go on and on. Calais Campbell, also throwing his name in there, looking solid, has 5 tackles for loss on the season, leading the team. So this Baltimore defense, like I mentioned, they're in their peak right now. We're almost to the midway point in the season, and Baltimore is heating up on defense. I think they're really going to put on a show against the Cincinnati Bengals this upcoming week. Mr. Football, man, what do you got to say about this? What do you think about the offense for the Baltimore Ravens, led by that dude, Lamar Jackson?
Well, you're looking at the Ravens, and I think I said it early on, I'm going to say it again. If Lamar Jackson can improve his passing to a level where he can get that accuracy completion rate up, then he's got the potential of being one of the best to ever play the game. And I think about this with Lamar Jackson. When he got drafted, draft night, he was the last pick of the first round. And I remember his interview. He said, hey, there's nothing but one goal for me, Super Bowl. He didn't talk about improving his passing. He didn't talk about improving winning. He said the ultimate goal is winning the Super Bowl and bringing one to Baltimore. So that being said, last week, he was 19 of 27, 167 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. That's all right. But he's put so much pressure on the defense. So he's going to do what he's going to do week in and week out. He's going to be explosive with his legs, and he's going to represent South Florida to the highest, fullest. But what I like about the Ravens is their running game, man. Old school. 187 yards last week. Very efficient on the running the football. So they've done it by committee. And I'm going to say old school here. Devontae Freeman, 53 yards. How you like me now, Atlanta? Lamar Jackson had 51 yards. Latavius Murray had 44 yards. How you like me now? Who that nation? New Orleans Saints. And then Mr. Bell, even though he had 18 yards, you know I'm talking about, Mr. L. Bell out of Pittsburgh. How you like me now? All I know is them 3 gentlemen right there, they got something to prove. And please don't get it mistaken that they may have lost something in their game. They playing with a team that can get to the Super Bowl. and they got something to prove. And collectively, they had 187 yards on the ground. Then, what I like about Baltimore, everybody talk about their receiving core, but I'm going to tell you, man, I love their tight end, Mark Andrews. I know everybody talk about Gronkowski, everybody talk about Travis Kelce. But when you look at Mark Andrews, since he came into this league, 23 career touchdowns, every time I'm looking up, he's catching a touchdown. Last week had a touchdown in the win over the LA Chargers, excuse me. But the thing about him, I'm going to call him a touchdown maker. Boomer Sooner, he is a football player at the University of Oklahoma. But kudos to the offensive line, Bradley Bozeman and Ben Powers. This is a good football team offensively, and they're going to run the football down your throats. And if Lamar Jackson can improve his passing just a little bit, the Ravens are going to be a real good football team. And they got a good challenge coming up against the Cincinnati Bengals.
It's going to be a great game. Like I said, we just broke down the offense. We broke down the defense for both teams. And now it's time for the main event. What will be the final score for this game? For me, I think I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens getting the win in this one in a close game. I think the Ravens are going to get 35 and Cincinnati Bengals 28. I think Joe Burrow is going to have himself a better day. I think the Ravens, their defense might struggle a little bit, but they're going to go out there in some good spurts. But I think overall, Baltimore's got just a little bit more better team in terms of just the offense and the defense at the moment. But the Bengals are going to put up a great fight, so that's why I got this one being a very close ball game. Mr. Turner, what's your final score for this one?
I'm going to say this right here. Right now, the AFC North is going to be must-see TV this weekend.
Sure.
You got two of the best stars, young stars in the game. You got Lamar Jackson, one of the youngest and win the MVP award. You got Joe Burrow, who's down there in Cincinnati making some noise with an outstanding receiver from the state of Louisiana, Jamar Chase. Players going to be all over the field. Stars going to be all over the field. I see the Ravens 27, the Bengals 24, and I'm going to leave you with this. My final words is you're going to take us home this morning, Mr. Logan Landers. It's like the great poet out of Washington, D.C., Burrow against Jackson, and you know how he does it. Let's get it on! Marvin Gaye, baby.
There we go. So if you guys have enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment. Who will win this game? Who will be the MVP? Will the Bengals offense be a little bit better, or will that enticing Ravens defense lead the charge and get the win this upcoming week? Drop a comment, and we will be sure to interact with you. Like I said, be sure to like, comment, share if you are watching us on Facebook, YouTube, or on Twitch. And if you have not done so already, please go over and check out our podcast at 100 Yards of Football. We're available anywhere podcasts are able to be listened to, like Spotify, Apple, iTunes, iHeartRadio. You name it, we are over there with amazing football content. You'll see a bunch of our old game previews, legends interviews, history specials done by yours truly down below, Mr. Football Vincent Turner. All these great football, we have great guests on. We have former NFL draft scouts. We have just legends from the past, guys who have won Super Bowls, NCAA championships, amazing high school coaches, high school players. So please go over there and check out our podcast. Also, go check out our Instagram as well. We have clips of each and every show. Please go over there and support all the great work we've done. And a special thank you to everyone on the team, Mr. Football Vince Turner, my co-host today, bringing on the noise, bringing that great game preview with the Ravens and the Bengals. Of course, our other amazing producer, Jeremiah Long, Kevin the Bull Jones, and of course, 12-year veteran for the Atlanta Falcons, Mr. Bobby Butler. Our whole team is grateful for you, all of y'all, for watching. We couldn't do it without y'all. We love and support y'all. But hey, stay tuned because we got another great game preview coming up for you in just a little bit. We'll see you then.